emotion. So whenever it comes to motivation, we can usually distinguish them in between intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. So we're going to dive more into that and then move on to the theories. So to give a definition to motivation, it's the wants or needs that direct behavior toward a goal. So we all have intrinsic versus extrinsic motivating factors in our life. Now, to distinguish between the two, intrinsic motivation are items that motivate us due to internal factors. So this can be due to a number of or a variety of factors such as autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Some people may be scrolling and finding this YouTube video and are wanting to learn more about motivation and emotion for their own understanding, and that is due to intrinsic motivation. Now, if you're stumbling upon this video because it is a part of my course, because I do have these videos public, but I also show them to my class and give them to my class for understanding of each chapter, then they are doing this because of extrinsic motivation, likely. Now, some people in college, they are taking particular courses for personal mastery or for personal fulfillment, and that's perfectly fine. That would be an intrinsic motivator, but most of my students are in college because of one or two things. They want to get a degree, which again is an extrinsic motivator, and or they want to get a job with that degree that will lead them to a more fruitful, or let me just say, toward a job that they particularly want, okay? And for some students, they may just be here because their parents are making them, and that's okay too. Anything that's an extrinsic motivator is something that derives from outside sources. So this is why we all go to our jobs, so we can receive compensation for those who are in school, so we can receive grades that ultimately lead to a degree, and then can lead to a job or a career that we want that yields the potential for higher earning. Now, whenever it comes to intrinsic motivation, this is why a lot of us engage in the hobbies that we do. You know, we don't make an income from our hobbies necessarily. Most of us at least don't. Some of us take our hobbies and turn them into a career. But whenever it comes to our hobbies, there's some sort of personal fulfillment that we get from them. So that's why we engage in the hobbies that we do. They're enjoyable inherently. So that's the main difference between intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. So just a moment ago, I mentioned taking your hobby and turning it into a career. Should you do that? I mean, it makes sense. Do what you love as a career, right? But studies show that whenever you begin to take something that was once intrinsically motivating for you and turning it into an extrinsic motivation, such as turning it into a business and receiving compensation for it, the intrinsic value of that particular hobby or action tends to decline. Right? So let's say that you like to bake in your free time. You're an accountant through the day, but you like to come home and you like to bake. Well, whenever you decide to open up your own bakery and start to receive compensation for it, and you're doing it all day, every day, operating a business, conflating, your career and things like that with something that's enjoyable inherently on your own time, can lead to a sense of, I don't want to say burnout, but it can definitely make you not want to do it in your free time. Because if you're baking all day, every day, are you going to want to come home and bake? I hope that you do, and I hope that's the case. I hope you love it that much. But studies show that does tend to happen for people who take intrinsically motivating hobbies or behaviors, I guess you can say, and then start to receive extrinsic motivators as a result.